We have entered a world, number one, of surveillance, two, a lack of freedom, and three, where we cannot even literally believe our own eyes.
This is about control. Everybody knows. Everyone complies. We're the kinds of pros. I don't need a plane. I just hit the road. I do what I want. I can't sell my soul. Market about to crash. This is what you chose. Ruining the country. I think that's the goal. You gonna take the mark. I take narrow roads. I'm a man of God. I can never fold.
So good. Welcome to the Protect Your Purpose podcast, where we talk whiskey, business, friends, family, and freedom. I'm your host, Matt Marchese, and this raising the roof, of course. And this is my pea head of a co-host, Zach.
Oh, I gave you that one.
You did.
I gave you that one. That's why I can't wear cool hats forward either, like you. Your giant melon.
That's right. Anyway, and of course, and as sometimes my lovely and beautiful wife, Mindy, how are you, honey?
Sometimes lovely. I'm great. How are you?
Kicking it, man. I'm here.
Great.
As you can see. Still living the dream down here in Florida. How's everything back on the home front?
Yeah, Lindy.
Doing good.
Lindy's still treading water. Look at her. She's not tired at all.
You know, today was a good day. I got all of my emotions out last night, and I saw the devil, and I raged at my kids for about 5 minutes, and then we were good to go.
Is that your first rage?
Oh, yes.
I rage.
I mean,
daily.
No. Like that.
Hold on.
Okay.
Like,
So this was a
like
normal
that.
rage.
Hold on.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We are getting right into. First of all, I'm excited that you guys are excited, because when you're excited, it wakes my ass up and I get excited. But before we go any further, what are we drinking?
I knew where you're going.
Oh,
I knew
I
where you're
thought
going.
you'd never ask.
You start us off. What are we drinking tonight, honey?
Yeah, go ahead, Lindy.
Oh,
What do
you're
you got?
gonna be so proud.
All right.
She's back.
Oh, you got some lead slingers.
Lead slingers.
All right.
I actually bought this as a gift for you, but I wanted to try it so badly. So
Clearly, Matt hasn't
drank
drank any of it yet. That thing
and
is
it
full.
is so good.
That's awesome.
So good. I don't even need the wine. I love it.
Congratulations on moving into adult. That's right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Zach, what are you drinking?
So after your Jim Beam comment last week, I went back to the well and got some Basil Hayden.
Good. More Beam Inc. product. I love it. Listen, for clarification, I don't have any beef with Beam products. I got a little to one of my dear friends and battle buddies and lifelong friends, Matt Summers, was a Jim Beam aholic. In college, first of all, we didn't know how to drink whiskey. So of course we drank it with
Cokes.
Diet Coke. And yeah, exactly. We drank it with Coke. And Beam just has like that.
Beam is a mix. It's a mixer. Yeah.
And it makes me, it's a six in whiskey. It makes me sick. So anyway, I don't have any beef though. And speaking of, I am drinking a non-Beam product. And I found me actually, we can hop right into it. This was a gift. And there's actually been 3 of these in this house in one of the jobs we're working on here in South Florida. There's a guy who has given himself, he has coined himself as the whiskey guy. So of course my whole team is like, oh,
he's from Florida.
Yeah, he lives in one of the condo associations.
Oh, that's so cool.
So he's got like a couple cases.
Did we just become best friends?
No. I haven't even met him.
Oh, damn.
I haven't even met him. Every time there's a new leadership face or a project manager face on the project, he introduces himself as the whiskey guy and he gives them a bottle of this Dickel, which is really a great product.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's a 13-year. It's fantastic.
I just noticed that your mustache is gone, by the way.
Oh,
sorry.
Thank God.
Maybe not all the way gone.
What are you talking about? I had to put on my uniform this weekend, so
you couldn't.
Dude, you don't want this thing trimmed to regulation. You
didn't have that mustache because of your uniform?
No, that was a choice. That was a decision. Decisions were made.
Jordan likes it. Jordan likes it.
My wife likes it.
She prefers it.
No, she doesn't. You know why she likes it? She doesn't want any other women to think you are attractive.
That might be it. That actually could be it.
You have been fucking duped because there's nothing attractive about that.
She also dresses me, and So I think she's trying to make me look as good as possible.
Well,
But maybe the mustache is just poor judgment on her part. We'll call it that.
I don't think that's true. Number one, I think she is tricking you, and it's because you've gotten so much.
She's
attention.
sabotaging me.
Well, what's
God
happening
damn it.
is the women, because of this
Oh, yeah.
podcast,
I'm
the
getting
women are flocking
The
to you.
publicity is outrageous.
What's happening is the camera fame. You know how there's people that are just mediocre. You see them walking down the street, but when they're in Hollywood, they get this kind of handsome fame that comes along with it. And I think that's what's happening to you.
Average looking people are
right.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yep. And Jordan
I'll
has
take
noticed that happening to you.
I'm not
So
complaining.
she convinced you to put that fucking pedophile mustache on your face to scare away the pretty women. So
It worked.
I'm on tour. I know what's happening in that set. Anyway, all right, I'm sorry. We digress. I interrupted you, honey. I didn't mean to. I just wanted
one
to
of the
get to
topics
whiskey.
was my mustache on today's podcast.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So what was it that you were beginning to talk about, honey, on your meltdown? Because I think it'll be a good lead into one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
was
for sure.
Oh, it's normal stuff like kids not listening, me asking them to do things like simple things, and they just don't. And so I'm in a battle with the phones, obviously. So I started screen time last night and took away their screen time, and they were very, very upset about that.
Sure.
But it has made a huge difference just today. I mean, I've scheduled.
You're like not allowing them to have it during the week. Is that what you're something like that?
I limit it an hour. And then like yesterday, I was like, okay, you're done. So now it's time to do this and this and this. And then if you're lucky, you may get 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, whatever you deserve. And
sure.
You're having kind of a power struggle with the phone is what I assume you were talking about. You're battling in a war against the phone.
You just hit your limit last night.
I hit my limit and I shed some massive tears. I was basically bawling, and they all immediately felt bad because they have big hearts. They don't mean to, but it's just the phones. It completely
zombies them out.
Isn't it? It's so weird though.
Terrible.
It's so weird because you feel like we have to limit screen time. It's not good for my kids to be on an electronic all night. But then they're not on it, and they're like the most annoying human beings on the planet. You're like, Jesus, take your phone back, get out of here.
On your phone, go to your bedroom, sit in a corner somewhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but I completely understand hitting your limit, though. I'm surprised it took you this long. If I'm being honest with you.
Last night I hit my limit, but I mean, obviously I've yelled at them and, made them do stuff they didn't want to do, or, got angry with them, but not like last night. Last night was a rough one, but we all woke up and I, told them I was sorry, and they told me, and now we're moving past.
Well, listen, hearing Lindy talk about her emotions and dealing with the children and the shit back home and the struggles, as simple as things that we deal with daily, and just how Storm and us being our family separation magnifies and amplifies things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, like every day. It's usually the same thing, but how the separation and the storm kind of wears on us. And what I wanted to talk about was the perspective from all of us. I mean, there's about 20 of us full-timers here. We've got a little bit of a rotation, people kind of going back and forth. Then we've got all of our temporary and our part-time employees and team members that are really all facing the same separation, and how hard it is to deal with that for all of the spouses. So I wanted to give a shout out. I know many of them listen, but the spouses and the people that are holding it down back home, I know how tough it is, and it's hard on all of us. It gets harder and harder throughout the days. But what I wanted to do is make sure that I use my opportunity from the start of this. Obviously, the whiskey business, friends, family, and freedom were the utmost of priority. But I also wanted to use this as an opportunity to talk to my team, regularly get my feelings and my heart out to them. And Lindy leading off the show with some emotional stuff on her end kind of speaks to what I've been telling them is I'm also going through it. My wife has also been going through it, and also use this opportunity to say a big thank you to all of the people who are devoting their time and their time away from their family to not only my business, because this isn't their business, although a lot of them treat it like it is. And their families have to deal with the same wrath of my business as my family does. And there aren't words that can describe how appreciative I am for the time that they've given us and that they continue to give us, and that these people here on the ground are dedicating to not only my business, but to the Florida residents who are fucking dying, hurting to get their lives back in order. So just a shout out to them and a thank you. And we're all kind of fighting in the battle together.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah, you're crying. I know. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys are sweethearts.
Sorry.
Obviously, both sides deserve all the credit. Just like deployed soldiers, families back home, they're heroes just in the same different light, But I think that also, like, we didn't talk about adding this into the podcast, makes me think about how the family dynamic, which is, partially trying to be destroyed in America, of a man and a woman, and how different you are as parents. Like, when I'm gone, my kids are hell for my wife because she's generally not the disciplinarian, right? And not to say like she can't be, and not to say I can't be tender and loving, but generally if I say something, they do it because,
bingo.
Like just that piece alone, like you being gone, I'm sure your kids are 100% taking advantage of Lindy's love and kindness and tenderness.
Without a doubt.
It's just so, like, kids are so crazy like that, man. And I mean, and then when you're gone, or when Lindy's gone, it's the same kind of thing. They know they have to, you're the disciplinarian. You're probably not as tender and loving and caring. Once again, not that you can't be, but that's just not generally. Lindy plays that role. You play the disciplinarian, right? Kind of like our household also. So,
oh, yes.
Dude. So, dude, and honey. Is it weird that I call you honey? Like, what kind of old ass 85-year-old married couple? Honey, will you bring me my tea?
My wife would hate me if I called her honey. If I would use pet names. We don't use pet names.
So dumb. Ironically, this conversation is shaping itself right into some of the things that I was really excited about talking about throughout the week. I go all week long and I try to remember the things that I want to save for the podcast. Right. And of course, I'm too busy. I don't fucking write them down. And then at the 11th hour, I'm trying to remember all the shit. I never can. I'm going to get better at that, number one. But there was a couple things that happened in the last couple days that kind of go along with what you started to say, Zach, about the family dynamic and how important the family dynamic and the support system of the family is to not only our mental health, but our overall freedom. Like, first of all, we understand the middle class is what freedom is based on. America is built on the middle class. If there is no middle class, there is no freedom. So, and I'll get into that at a later, on a later cast or topic. Two things: emotion. The emotion on Storm, I touched on it, I think last week or maybe the week before. But the emotion on Storm, not only for us here, but for our families back home and our kids. Like, before we started recording, my kids pop in and they're like, "Hey, Dad, I love you. I can't wait to see you." And this and that. And just, you can feel the emotions. I watch these people, all my team, they're on FaceTime. We're all in different corners of the house and in our rooms, just getting connected with our families. And you watch how important that is to the survival of the brain. And understanding that the powers that are being are trying to destroy that. They know exactly what I just described. They know that without that family dynamic and without that support system, people fall apart. The hardest things to get through happen with a team. So full circle. Today I had some surprise visitors, actually. Rick Isaacson, who is the CEO and owner of Serve Pro,
Ooh.
big Serve Pro. Yeah. Surprised me and showed up on the job with,
Hey, before you get into it, did you get him to like and follow and subscribe?
oh, so I wanted to talk about that. Write that down. Remind me
all right,
on
go
that
ahead.
too, because I want to talk about some listeners here in just a minute. But
All right.
yes is the answer. I have a sneaking suspicion he's listening. Also, one of his sons, who is also another Serve Pro owner in the system, Christian, a friend of mine, another Serve Pro operator. He texted me the other day. He was checking in on me about an adjuster deal. Anyhow, closes out the conversation with "Love the podcast, dude." And then Hither, who is one of the executives on the Serve Pro corporate team, was here on the job last week, and he left saying, "Hey man, love your podcast." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "It's so crazy to hear." So Serve Pro TV, Kim Brooks, Chad Lewis, they're with the marketing department. They run Serve Pro TV. Rick Isaacson was here, a couple others with their crew. But one of the things they asked me about, which we didn't know, I didn't even know they were coming. I knew Kim was coming. I figured she was coming with a camera to check some shit out. Ultimately, I pull up to the job right behind them, and Sarah, who is another one of my team members, looks at me. She's like, "They just pulled up." And I'm like, "What the hell's her face? Why does she look so terrified?" And then I look over and I see Rick Isaacson again. I'm like, "Well, that explains her face."
You've met this guy before,
shit.
though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he is very, first of all, he's super smart.
He's
A
not the kind of
visionary.
boss you like pulls up
No,
and you're nervous.
hell no.
Yeah.
Nope. And that was the best thing of the whole thing was I
So
didn't
he's
feel
a
nervous
he's
at
a good
all.
leader. That's
He's
what you
an
would say.
amazing leader, a true visionary, very well respected within the system, and cares about us. That's why he's here. And he also, timing is like, yeah, he's a super great leader, very comfortable. So I was like, "Hey, I didn't know you were coming. I didn't know you were bringing the big wigs, you know?" We walked through, and one of the questions they asked me during our walkthrough, and they got it on camera, of course, because that's probably why they wanted to come to me, because they knew I'd ham it up for the camera.
We've seen this podcast. Let's get
They
mad
knew-
on ours.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I've done some other stuff for Serve Pro TV. Kim also knows that I hate being on camera, but I'm willing to do it. They asked about the emotional part, which of course had no idea they were going to ask. I didn't even know they were coming. And they said, "How do you guys deal with the emotion?" We were walking through these people's homes that have just been ravaged by these floodwaters in the storm. They've lost everything. They, of course, being in the system, understand the emotional aspect of it. And I got a chance to explain to them. I don't remember everything that I said. I got a chance to explain to them how emotional it was. And it was coming off of a day where yesterday I cried. I bet I cried 3 or 4 times yesterday. It seemed like every time I turned around, something reminded me of my dad being in South Florida, where he used to do moving jobs. And I was with my little brother, and I walk into the pizza place and his Italian music is on. Not to mention that just the emotions of storm. Everyone's tired and overworked and miss home. And yesterday was a super emotional day for me. My wife I didn't know that she was struggling so bad. I got to kind of spill my heart out to the Serve Pro TV crew on how much emotion my team has in this. Like the amount of tears that are being shed on these jobs with these people. They've lost everything. They have nothing. They don't know what to do. We are their heroes. We are their backbone. And that's a lot of pressure for people who are taking on their own shit,
Right.
their own emotion. Right. So I got to kind of put that on display, and they asked how we deal with it. And full circle back to what I wanted to get to, Zach, was I told them, number one, it's hard. And I do a really good job of letting them know, kind of setting the expectations as really, really shitty out, on Jump Street, to let them know, like, this is going to be awful. It's going to be hard. And I also explained to them that we're going to build bonds similar to the military or the 50-mile march that we all did, how you kind of embrace the suck. But what we learned years ago is that we do it family style, because we understand the importance of family. And when you come home and they're all right outside these doors, you'll see them walking behind me. That's how we do it. We spend the extra money. We spend the extra travel time, and we make sure that we're not at night going home after 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-hour days, going home to the hotel to isolation. We
Right.
come home and we have a family dinner together. As shitty as the day was, and then after all this, most of these people had no idea that I was in tears. My wife was in tears. other people's wives and spouses and family members are sad. I had 2 people walk in basically in tears trying to explain why they were crying and that they weren't sad. They were just crying. Ashley again was one of them. She's like, I had 3 or 4 different times today where she's like, I have no idea why I'm crying. And I just sat there and I'm like, yeah,
Amen, Ashley.
I know. I was like, I tried to explain it on Serve Pro TV today. I tried to do that. But back to the whole freedom and family thing. Coming home to a family is the most important thing you could possibly do to save your mental health. And as I think I discussed on the last one, mental freedom is the foundation of freedom. If they take our mental freedom, there is no more freedom. The family support system is mental health. Mental health is freedom. Got to protect that. And I got a little bit of a chance today to touch on that. So I'm glad you brought that up, Zach.
And when you can, the world needs more people like you guys down there. Because if you can put your own emotions to the side to serve others and their emotions, like if everybody in the world did that, man, it'd be a beautiful place to live. That's not the way things are going. But
another quick shout out to the families and the people on my team. We've got to like, they don't want to be here. They feel like they have to. They have a place in their heart. Their spouses want them home. Their kids want them home. They want to be home, but they don't want to leave. You both know. You've both been deployed. You both understand the military dynamic. They have that feeling of abandonment when they're having to leave. And of course, I give them shit. I'm like, oh, Jeremy's going home. He's got to leave early. I give them a line of shit.
Yeah, but they genuinely feel bad for having to leave the situation. Yeah.
They do not want to leave these people. They don't want to leave each other. And that is because we have the dopest of people with the biggest hearts. It all comes from those core values and that team concept where we rid of the shitty ones. But something's got to give. And, these people have to go home. And that's why we're starting. This is going to be a longer than normal storm event where we're starting like rotations and getting some people some relief and all of that. But
correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you have a storm team, but it's all voluntary, right? Like nobody's forced to be there. So literally everybody on your team is voluntarily there, putting their own families to the side for a second and serving others. It's awesome.
Except for Brooke, I force her to be here. She doesn't have a choice, but she's poor Brooke. She gets no, I'm kidding. Everybody here is here on their own free will. Everybody's here. Everybody here is dude, they're here for a reason. And they know they're here for a reason. They're here to grow. They're here for the bond. They're here to help. They're here to be mentally challenged and embrace the suck. And we talk about it almost nightly here, moving forward. And how kind of, again, back to the Army days and the 50-mile march days where you get so deep into that and you never remember the shitty parts. Another thing, I'm helping them try to understand to fall in love with the process and embrace the suck because the reward on the back end of it is worth it. And they're going to remember this. They're going to remember this event. They're going to remember the tears they cried. They're going to remember the emotions they had. But most importantly, they're going to remember the success they had and the personal growth, professional growth, financial growth that comes from these challenges that we face.
And
but most importantly, go ahead, babe.
They'll want to do it next year and the year after.
Of course.
Yeah. You get addicted to it after a while, for sure.
Yeah. Of course.
I can't wait till I retire so I can leave my kids and Just kidding.
For sure.
Just kidding.
That's
I love you.
But yeah, it's like basic training, man. Like you're only there for 9 weeks. Like you're with those people for 9 weeks. I haven't seen a single one of them since then, but you all went through this trying time together, and the bond that you build over doing something like that is so strong. Because I still talk to, the ones I was closest with. I actually just wished one a happy birthday the other day on Facebook, because there was a picture of us at basic training. So I completely understand it, man. If there's people who haven't experienced that, I encourage you to go outside your comfort zone and do something like that.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome.
I've got a girl. Nicole Giver. She's my friend on Facebook. We every now and then she'll like drop a comment on something. I haven't talked to her in 20 years, but
Right. But every once in a while.
yeah, every once in a while she'll drop a like or a comment or something. And I'll much respect. Actually, I was a squad leader for about 1 minute.
Oh, dude, that is hilarious. So
I don't know if were you? I don't know if I got 1 full minute in as a squad leader, and
how'd you get fired?
Replaced me, and
how'd you get fired?
I got asked a question. I went, and that was it. You're fired.
I moved at the position of attention. He's like, he literally promoted me, moved at the position of attention, got fired immediately.
Now look at you. You're like soldier of the year.
Yeah, now.
Bro, they fucking do that shit.
Look at me now, drill sergeant.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
Fuck you, drill sergeant Wright.
They also asked for volunteers on who would want to be platoon guide, and nobody raised their hand. And they're like,
hell no.
You motherfuckers, raise your hand right now. And then just smoked us all.
Then they get mad at us. For not volunteering to get our shit pushed in. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Not really responsible for all these dudes. Jesus.
Yeah, it was funny. Anyway, that bond, man. Nicole Giver, a couple other folks from training too. But yeah, it's the same thing, man. And I got to discuss similar concept with Rick Isaacson today.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to listen to this podcast, but that's
because not every Surf Pro branch has a storm team, right? That's like a special thing you do, right? Like a separate thing you do on top of most. Most don't. It's a special breed, and it was so cool to have them here, even though I was wearing my We the People hat, a different one. The CEO and president at Surf Pro shows up, and I'm like, oh, Tim, you set me up for failure. I didn't know. And I said, no, I'm just kidding. Nothing. I wouldn't have changed anything anyway. And then I looked down, I'm wearing pink shorts and a We the People hat, and I'm like, except for maybe my outfit, I probably would have changed the outfit had I known.
Well, I text the whole group, the production group, and I was like, who let Matt wear pink pants today?
I didn't know this was happening. I forgot. What a dumbass. I know.
It's fine.
Anyway, number one, Rick Isaacson is a stone cold patriot. So are his kids, and his whole family is super smart and patriotic. So certainly he wasn't too upset. And also he probably knows that we are in the land of the free and the home of the open carried handguns. So certainly he knows I'm wearing the cap in good company. The pink pants could have done without, but listen, we're on storm.
You're sending mixed signals to some of the people down there. Man.
That was what was clean. Sorry,
hey, I love rocking pink, man. Don't.
I was going to say, who's doing your laundry there?
that shirt hasn't been washed in 3 weeks.
Don't worry about my laundry, okay?
We've got Brooke sort of a rotation. What do you think you brought her down there for?
Brooke did actually fold my laundry the other day.
Yeah, let's transition into some of the current events, Matthew. The Alex Jones stuff.
I haven't been super up on my current events, Zach. I've been busy as shit.
You don't have to be to hear about Alex Jones and Kanye.
I heard about Alex Jones.
I figured.
And Kanye. All right. So what do you want to talk about Alex Jones?
For everybody, he just got ordered to pay, we'll call it $1 billion, because that's basically what it is, to the Sandy Hook families for comments made on he's got a podcast. He's got like InfoWars. He does all, and he's been what some would say a far right conspiracy theorist for years. Yeah. I mean, he was in on like the Unabomber level, like anti-government.
He's been at it for 25 years,
right? And made comments about the Sandy Hook, being a fraud and those types of things, and then got ordered to pay $1 billion for defamation. I don't even know what exactly it was.
Bro, it doesn't really matter what it is. So
right.
Here's the thing with the Alex Jones situation. Okay. We knew this was going to happen. We knew that there was an attack and has been an attack on our speech and our freedom to speak for years now. The attack has been launched in the most vicious and costly ways possible,
outrageous.
Which is
outrageous.
Dude, outrageous. And here's the message. Somebody is going to say, and I fucking know it's going to happen, well, Alex Jones shouldn't have said this. Again, kind of like I said on the last podcast, Those are the details where the devil resides. Stay out of those details and focus on what the outcomes are. And the outcomes of this Alex Jones situation, you mentioned Kanye. Surely you understand why you mentioned Kanye. And it's because it's the same shit now. And I don't know much about that. I literally heard about it this afternoon. But I know what the outcomes are. And my little brother asked me the other day, how did you know? And I said, because once you understand the play, you can predict the next move. You don't have to know. Because you look at it and you say, okay, if I was going to do this, this is what I would do. They're going to do this or this, but the outcome is what I'm predicting. I don't know what the details are. I've got a pretty good idea because it's the same rinse and repeat bullshit. But here's the message. The message is, if you speak out and we don't like what you say, we will fucking bankrupt you. If you speak out and we don't like what you say, or you don't agree with the narrative that we are putting out, we will crush your existence. We will bankrupt you. We will take away your ability your ability to feed your family. We will take away your ability to survive. That's why they're trying to take control of the bank and the financial institutions. That's a part of what they're going to do. They're not at the end game on this. Okay. I think you mentioned it, a social credit score. Last episode, was it? I think so. Yeah. The end game on that is if your social credit score isn't up to par, meaning what they want, they take your finance, they take away your financial ability to survive. This is a message. This is a message that they're sending to the world. If you fuck with us, we'll bankrupt you.
Yes, because all it is just scaring away anybody from speaking out against narrative, things that don't fit the narrative, right? Whether or not you agree with Alex Jones is irrelevant, like you're saying, because people get caught up on that. Well, I agree. He should have got his money taken. He shouldn't have said that. Who gives a shit what he said? Should you be fined for giving your opinion? Should you have to pay money for giving your opinion? Regardless of what opinion that is? That's the question.
Not in a world where we have
not in a free America.
Freedom to speak our mind. We talked about this last week. It is required. The First Amendment is required for freedom. We have to be able to invoke free thought and speech in order to maintain our freedom. In order for them to take our freedom, they have to take away our freedom of thought and speech. Why do you think they're doing it? The same reason with the Second Amendment. And I want to also be clear. And you know what? You guys understand this very well. We've had 1,000 fucking hours of conversation about this. I want everyone to know I've got a pretty nice little life, a pretty good little business, a pretty solid net worth. I've got plenty of all the shit I need. You guys have retirements and military careers that are, on the tail end and winding down. We've got a lot to lose. I don't think people fully understand the magnitude of the risk that we are taking to launch this podcast against what we are watching happen, people being crushed. If this thing ever were to take off, and I hope it does, because crush me if you have to. Again, we've all pretty much said we're willing to go as far as dying for our freedoms. But make no mistake about it, they're going to come after us. And it's a big risk. They're going to cancel us. My wife and I have already experienced it. Had asshole friends of ours for something as simple as my wife being a Trump supporter. People say, I'm not going to send you any more business. I'm going to fucking idiots, number one. And number two, fuck you. But this is a lot of risk that we're taking on because of this bullshit. And Kanye, listen, Kanye's as crazy as the day is long, but he is not wrong, number one. And they're going to make an example.
Before you start Kanye, if you were getting on that rant, the next question you should ask yourself is why are they going after Alex Jones? Like, why would they? Do they think they don't give a fuck about the families of Sandy Hook? Like, come on, dude. Like,
of course,
obviously they don't care, right? So why would they be going after him? Because he speaks out against everything that he sees going on. I mean, why would they be trying to take him down? Why would they be trying to bankrupt him?
Yeah, man, here's why. because they're trying to cancel God because God provides us freedoms. God provides us freedoms that not even they can take. And if we answer to God, we don't answer to them.
You're definitely getting censored now.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, man. It's terrible.
Don't bow down to
awful.
false gods.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's a war on religion. It's a war on freedom. And that what they are doing is they are
take away God, you take away family, you take away masculinity, you take away freedom of speech. Like these are all plays all at the same, like people just I don't know how some people don't see the writing on the wall.
I don't either.
I read something the other day. Oh, it might've been our friend Raven on her. I think it was something along the lines of, if you don't see what's happening at this point, like you have got to be amongst the dumbest people that have ever walked the earth. Like it couldn't be more clear. They're talking about finding Alex Jones $1 billion. Okay. Right. In restitution to pay to families that got upset because he said some sideways shit. And again, I don't even know what he said and I don't give a shit. And I refuse to even dive into it because it doesn't matter because that shit is what they want us to be arguing about and talking about. The outcomes are they're sending a message and the message is clear. You no longer have your free speech, not without the most heavy and excruciating consequences that we can possibly deliver if you disagree with what we say. That's the message. That's the intent. They're going to do the same shit with Kanye. They're sending us a message. You don't get to have these beliefs or we will crush you. That's it. But when it's all said and done, the only way to fight this is if everyone does what we do.
And if
everyone does what we're doing.
And if you can't give your opinion or thoughts or speak about things without the fear of reprisal or then we don't live in a free society. Like, end of story. Like, how can you even say this is a free country if people are getting fined for opinions now?
Dude, it hasn't been a free country for some time now. I said it not long ago to somebody. I forget who it was, but
Christina from the gym the other day posted something about how these owners of big businesses or bloggers or people who have a lot of influence just flat out are not saying anything, not voicing their opinions for simply of financial reasons, because
of course
everybody will cancel them. And so then they have no job, they have no money, and it's bonkers. It's crazy.
We're running that risk.
If you listen to like Andy Frisella, he says, if you speak out about this stuff and you push against the grain, it's going to help. Like he says, his business has grown exponentially. So it just kind of,
oh, for sure.
It's whoever they decide is the biggest. And Alex Jones, I mean, was pretty loud and pretty vocal about anti-government and anti-establishment and all that stuff. So he was an easy target, and don't know how he recovers from that. Like that's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. And I hope he stands his ground as goofy as he is. Again, I don't even know the details of it, but it doesn't matter. Because like I said on the last episode, like I said earlier, if the outcome is you threaten our freedoms, I'm not down with it. It doesn't fucking matter because I understand the core principle of freedom is not free. And I'm going to do everyone a favor again. I'm going to explain this again. Freedom is not free, meaning freedom comes with a price. Oftentimes that price is a sacrifice. Okay. Price equals sacrifice. And it doesn't mean, it can mean that we're sending soldiers overseas to go fight a war and they die and that's the price we pay. No. The price we pay is the actual cost of having that freedom. And sometimes with the freedom of speech being present all the time, somebody's going to fucking get their feelings hurt. Somebody's going to get lied of. Somebody's going to be wrong. But if we can't be wrong we will never be able to be right. We'll never be able to grow if we can't speak on the fear of being wrong. Like,
Right.
I get on here and I'm fully banking on the fact that, hey, maybe I'm wrong on some shit. I doubt it because I fucking haven't been wrong yet. But, and I thought I might be wrong. Like a couple years ago, I was going, fuck, man, I don't want to believe that.
Right?
Is
Oh
that
my
real?
God.
And then sure as shit, it keeps coming. And I'm like, I guess I'm going to keep talking. But we're banking on the fact that,
Another way to look at it, man, is which side would you rather be wrong about?
Right.
Like, say it comes out tomorrow, we're wrong. None of it was true.
I fucking hope so.
Yes, please God.
Please be wrong.
But
I am good at being wrong.
but what if it came out it wasn't? Would you want to be standing on the other side like, oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't see that one coming for some
Oops.
reason.
Hey, good news, man.
I feel like
think
we're there.
And there's a difference between hate
feel like it's-
speech and speech that you hate. So people get offended over everything and thinks it's a personal attack, and like, God, we can't even have conversations anymore, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I commend you guys. I'm proud of you both for getting. Now, you knew when we started this thing what this was going to be about. You knew the risk that came with it. You know there's going to be hate. Like Frisella says, there's going to be hate, but at the same time, people are flipping daily. Gives me confidence. I know it does both of you, that ultimately we know we're on the right side of history. We know, or at least believe in our heart of hearts, that the truth will set us free. God will protect us. God always wins over evil. And I'm hopeful that as things progress, more and more people, which seems to be the case, more and more people are coming over to our side and opening up their eyes and seeing the bullshit that we're living in. Hopefully, we're going to get these freedoms back that have officially been taken.
And stop believing everything you see on the internet. Either way.
Yeah.
We were just talking
That's right.
about that Philadelphia Eagles clip with Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were supposedly yelling, fuck Joe Biden, but you were saying you believe it was dubbed and covered over, right? Or
Yeah. So I saw, again, I was on my way back to the Verbo tonight and I was scrolling through the socials, and I saw Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum, I think is his name on the socials. He's one of those conservative influencers. He was a cop, super Blue Lives Matter guy. Anyway, that's all I saw about it. I didn't even know it existed, but he basically was like, don't believe everything you see. And he debunked it. So,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, it looks.
You watch it, and you're like, oh yeah, you would think it was real, but
They almost
surely
got us.
Yeah, surely no one in that fucking crowd was supporting those monkey brains. But
they weren't.
dude, we can't believe anything we see anymore.
Nothing.
You
dude.
see that shit about
Nothing.
Zelensky with the holograms. You can't deep fakes. You can't believe your own eyes anymore. And it's all a part of the fucking plan, dude. If you can't believe that boy is a boy and that girl is a girl and that person is really on stage in front of me and that video was really done by dude, they make the Mona Lisa come to life and it looks real.
It does.
Yeah, we're entering a world. We have entered a world, number one, of surveillance, two, a lack of freedom, and three, where we cannot even literally believe our own eyes. Don't believe everything you hear. To piggyback off of what Zach was just saying, don't believe what you hear. Fact check it yourself, and don't fucking believe. For the love of God, do not believe the fact checkers. Fact check them.
I was just gonna say that after you fact check it again.
Yeah.
Do the fact check, because even your fact checks are probably lies.
In fact, if the fact checkers are fact checking it, it's probably true.
Right.
Right.
If
so
you
true.
if you follow the money on who's paying the fact checkers, I assure you, you'll land
There's a
on the
reason
same
they're
thing.
fact checking that.
That's right. It's not a
Exactly.
fact. If they're fact checking it, just know it's probably the exact opposite. Anyway, I don't know what else do we have on the docket. Are we closing this thing out?
We were kind of leading into the listeners and the followers and the support. We're still continuing to get to this day, and how awesome it is, dude. Like, this is just some little rinky dink operation, that we put together to be able to talk about these things amongst ourselves. And I don't know I mean, the second episode, you're throwing out 1 million followers, but I'm not sure any of us really.
Oh,
know
it's
an
happening, bro.
We're just on a slight. I mean,
No, I think things are going great, and I think I said beforehand, like I think probably 10 people this week had come up to me and said something about the podcast, whether they saw it just me posting it or actually listened to it. The word's getting out, man, and my freaking pastor at church came up and talked to me about it.
Oh,
I don't know
way.
how much he's listening, but Pastor Greg, I love you. I'll try.
I love you too.
I'll try to say less cuss words, but
oh, that's right.
So
Pastor
many.
Greg is listening.
too late.
I probably said
Too late.
27 F-bombs in this episode. I feel like I did good.
Hey,
Oh.
hey.
And
But that just
my-
goes to show, like the range of people that could be listening and picking something. Hopefully, you're taking something, whether or not you agree with us on subjects. I mean, we talk about more than just controversial stuff. We're trying to spread,
For sure.
leadership, family,
And love.
spread the love.
Cash and Kaysen came home the other day and said, "Mom, the whole office staff at our school listened to your podcast."
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
You're scared to walk
Yeah.
in there now.
yes.
it was the same feeling with the Isaacson brothers saying like, yeah, I'm going to, dig in the podcast or whatever. And I'm going, oh no, like you're listening to it.
This
And
just goes to show that improve that you cannot watch your mouth.
Bro, so there's two things that we get, two takeaways from this. Number one, people are listening and obviously it's making enough of an impact for them to listen again and to tell me about it and
Yeah,
to tell
say
us
something
about it and
about
tell
it.
our kids about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are people that like the CEO of Big Serve Pro and our kids' school staff and the pastors in our church. Like these are influential people that obviously agree with us. They obviously see what we're
To some
doing
extent, yeah.
to an extent, at least for them to come back and listen. So number one, I think we're making an impact on people. We've all felt it. We talked about it earlier, how some of just the texts on, hey, you guys are doing a really good job. Keep it up. I needed that. Thanks for that talk. One of my cousins today texted me. I can read you the text. Mike Marchese, Hobby is what I call him, text me and said a picture of a friend group that he's with. They're doing a whiskey tasting. And he said, guess what I'm doing tonight? Since you're a family expert and all. I'm like, I am not a family expert. That is not the case. And I'm like, but shit, you're listening to the podcast, man. So cool. So people that are hearing, we're making an impact on them, and it's encouraging. And to the point of subscribers and followers, I'm super confident I am more now than I was even at the beginning that we're going to be able to help change the world.
So to put a bow on that, thank you everybody that's listening, paying attention,
Yes.
getting something from it so far, but keep spreading the word. The only way we get to the point of making a true impact with this is keep getting it out there. Because Matt, I think maybe some people don't know the YouTube algorithms are stopping certain messages from going out. But the more followers we have, the more people listening, the more people watching, the more that's going to get out there, and we can stick it to the man and get that word through either way. So
yeah, man.
Amen. Amen.
Using it, girl. Using our weapons.
I'll raise the roof. Raise the roof.
Using our weapons. If you don't use it, you lose it. Use your speech. Go buy a gun. I don't give a shit if you're scared of the gun or not. Go buy a gun. Go learn the gun. Figure it out. Use your speech.
And go to church.
And like,
maybe that's for you,
Yes.
Pastor Greg. Go to church.
if you don't use it,
Maybe
you'll lose
it'll-
it.
Maybe it'll teach you to be nicer to people.
If you don't go to church, there, I promise you, everything under this sun, they're going to try and prevent us from worshiping God and from practicing our own religion. I promise you, we saw it during COVID. One of the first things they shut down.
Yep.
They don't want us answering to that. So one of those rights is our freedom to religion. And damn it, do it. Sorry, did I just say damn it in the same? Listen, get your ass to church. And I
however
love
you got to get them there. Get them there.
yeah, doesn't matter. Make it happen. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining. I know we've got some other fun stuff that we've got coming up here soon. I can't wait to be back in the studio and squeeze both of you and hug you and love you. I think, unfortunately, we're going to have another 1 or 2 episodes here remote. But Ian, thank you for all the hard work and dedication you've put into this.
You're welcome.
And hey, thanks, bro. Appreciate you all.
Later.
Love you.
Love you.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Almost got my nose. I almost got my
You
big
got
nose
you.
in that one.
He got you. He flipped the
Got your
top.
nose.